SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
State Treasurer David McRae is returning record amounts of money to Mississippians, whether it's through the College and Career Savings Program or the hundreds of millions in unclaimed money awaiting your claim. Treasurer David McRae says get your applications and claims in today. Treasury.ms.gov.
Find in-depth interviews with the newsmakers in the SuperTalk podcast archives. And everything Mississippi sports. Your Mississippi news. All the time. On air and online. At supertalk.fm.
Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21. I want you to believe me, baby.
Hey, good morning. Welcome. Mornings with Richard Cross, Wednesday morning, the 19th of November. We are 8 days from Thanksgiving. 1 week from tomorrow, we will gather, hopefully with family, with friends, around a small table, around a large table, and share a meal, maybe multiple meals, and memories and stories and laugh and giggle and maybe shed a tear for those who have gone on before. 8 days away. One of the absolute wonderful days on the calendar, Thanksgiving, a day where most of us slow down just a little bit. And it's easier to do that when there's not a football game that you've got to get to that day. So a few years now in the rearview mirror with the Egg Bowl moved off of Thanksgiving, being played the Friday after. What a wonderful time of the year. I'm Richard Cross alongside Lance Tolbert. This is Mornings with Richard Cross. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Did it ever rain anywhere across the state? I mean, I know it tried and wanted to, but did you get any?
I don't believe it dripped a drop here.
Yeah, it did a head fake, man.
Yeah.
Quarterback keeper. But yeah, I didn't get any.
It was cloudy yesterday.
Yeah,
gray, cloudy, and at times the wind would pick up just a little bit, but no precipitation to speak of.
Oh, I did get to yesterday. The one of my friends here in the building, he fries a bunch of turkeys for people here at the Farm Bureau. And as I was leaving, I kind of Bugs Bunny caught a whiff of the frying of the turkeys. So, of course, I had to.
And all of a sudden, that neck got a little longer as you kind of turned and craned to the side and peered around the corner.
Man. And so he was on the last one. He goes, "Oh man, okay. We're slicing one up in here right now just to kind of eat. You got to, get you a bite of that before you leave." I said, "Oh yeah, sure, of course." And went in there in this beautiful,
never thought you'd ask.
Yeah, big, beautiful white turkey, Cajun fried, and got a slab of that and put it in the mouth, and it just so juicy, fell apart. So, I have to admit, I did partake in the festivities early. I'm ready for the turkey. If you need some help eating 5 turkeys, I'm in now. I'm sold. So
I like it.
I'm good.
I like it.
No, it was delicious, though. I mean, literally, just it's that moment where you go, "All right, yep, Thanksgiving's here, man."
That time of the year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
If you peek at the forecast about a week out, you see that Thanksgiving Day and the day after, maybe a good bit cooler, but not yet. Lewisburg, you've got cloudy skies today with a high of around 75, winds light and variable. Saltillo, chance of a morning shower. Will it actually rain today or be just like yesterday and remain cloudy? 77 for the high, winds out of the west at 5 to 10 miles per hour. How about in the southwest corner of Mississippi in Woodville? Areas of patchy fog early. In fact, most of the southern part of the state of Mississippi is under a dense fog advisory this morning. Partly cloudy this afternoon, high near 75, high of 81 actually in Woodville. Winds light and variable. That high of 75, well, that's in Pass Christian with areas of fog this morning, partly cloudy in the afternoon. Winds out of the south and southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mid to upper 70s, lower 80s on the 19th of November. Week and a half ago, it was 40. Week from now, it's going to be 40. But here we are at 80 in between.
And it's been a stretch of it, too. It's
yeah.
Well, like it's just a couple days, man. It's been 75 and 80 and walk out of the office about lunch, start peeling stuff off.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get there. We'll get there soon enough, huh?
Leaves can't decide what they want to do right now, other than fall.
Yeah, they're just everywhere.
Yeah.
I blew off the yard, and then it was the next day, it was exactly like it looked the day before. And I got rid of all the leaves that I blew away. I didn't just pile them up. No. There was plenty more.
The guy that, and it may be multiple guys, I guess most places, I don't know if most places do this in Mississippi or not, but we've got leaf service from the city where they, you rake your leaves and they bring the big truck that comes around and sucks them up, and it's a really great service. You don't have to do the getting them in garbage bags or burning them or any of that good stuff on your own. And just because of the sheer volume of leaves that fall in my neighborhood, it's usually, if you put a pile of leaves out there, if you time it right, it might be a few days. And sometimes, because they're really busy, it ends up being a couple of weeks until they get your big pile of leaves vacuumed up. Not this year.
They're on top of it.
I'm at either 3 or 4 different times already of blowing the yard and having a big old pile of leaves right at the edge of the street in 2 different spots. 3 of the 4 times, and maybe it's lucky timing, I don't know.
Or
3 of the 4 times, that cat has gotten those leaves that day.
It pays to be a cross, right?
And one time, it was the next day. But shout out to all of the city workers all over the state of Mississippi who picking up trash and doing those leaves and all the stuff that we take for granted. We thank you this morning. And we appreciate you being with us. And we let you know that James Garfield, the 20th President of the United States, was born on this day in 1831. Born in Moreland Hills, Ohio. Hiram Bingham, born in 1875, an American archaeologist who rediscovered the Incan site of Machu Picchu. He was born in Hawaii, the Kingdom of Hawaii at the time. What does rediscovering mean?
Yeah, he stumbled upon it a few, maybe 1,000 years after folks were living in it, or I don't know. They've started redoing. I mean, I've seen that in places where Columbus rediscovered, and I don't know if that's a new way of whitewashing or something. History, I'm not sure. But
so, if I took a trip out west and stumbled upon that really large hole in the ground, is there a chance I could rediscover the Grand Canyon and get credit for it?
You're modern day explorer, right?
Yeah. Roy Campanella was born on this day in 1921, the Hall of Fame catcher. MVP of the National League in 1951, 53, and 55. He was World Series champion in 1955, an 8-time Big League All-Star with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Larry King was born on this day in 1933, the radio and television host. Larry King Live, born in New York City. So many good interviews. I think my favorite was with Jerry Seinfeld. Might pull that up for you in the next segment. Jerry Seinfeld, incredulous that Larry King didn't know more about him for this sit-down interview.
Didn't really have an idea of how big the show was.
Do you know who I am?
What's going on here?
Jack Welch, one of the great American businessmen of all time, CEO at General Electric, born on this day in 1935. Another pretty good businessman, Ted Turner. He's 87 today. Born in 1938, founded CNN, former owner of the Atlanta Braves. He's the 3rd or 4th largest landowner in the entire United States. And oh, by the way, he owned an America's Cup team that won the sailing trophy in 1977. Ted Turner. Calvin Klein is 83. Lance, big Calvin Klein guy.
Well, I mean, the Back to the Future. That was Marty's name in it, right? Calvin Klein, because he wore the underwear. That's how his mom found him or something.
American fashion designer, born in 1942. Meg Ryan is 64 today. When Harry Met Sally. Sleepless in Seattle, born in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Don't forget The Doors.
What about The Doors?
No, that was just a movie she was in. Probably my favorite that she was in, actually.
Yeah. Jodie Foster, 63 today. The Accused.
Some big movies.
The Silence of the Lambs.
Taxi Driver also, right? With De Niro. That was a crazy one. But this today on birthday.
Tough roles.
Yeah, today though the birthdays were legit. There's
They
some
were
big dogs in there today.
They were, and there are a few that I left off. And I tell you what, there are some things that have happened in our country's history on this day that kind of fascinating. News headlines, sports headlines. Most of you will enjoy those. Some of you won't. But we'll do them anyway. And a lottery update. All of that coming for you in this first hour of the show this morning. The 6 o'clock hour, Wednesday morning, November 19th. It's a Country Music Wednesday, and we are glad to share it with you.
The news you need.
Every 10, 15 minutes, there's something.
The talk you love.
They really talk about the things that matter. I'm into all that stuff.
Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk, Mississippi.
She's been playing at a room on the strip for 10 years in Vegas. Every night she looks in the mirror and she only ages. She's been reading about Nashville and all the records that everybody's buying. Says I'm a simple girl myself, grew up on
Mornings with Richard Cross. Glad to be with you. MRC, you can text the show. Best way to do it, C Spire text line, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. Told you that Thanksgiving's on the way. Day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Then you get to Cyber Monday. Then you get to Giving Tuesday. Just a lot going on in that little time window, but you can usually find some good deals. Well, at C Spire, you don't have to wait for the good deals because Black Friday and Cyber Monday are here now with deals on their website. Go to cspire.com to check it out. Get ready for the best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals right now, like the new iPhone 17 Pro free with trade-in. Get yours today at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired. MRC brought to you by Community Bank. Rooted in our community, communitybank.net. On this day in 1620, the Mayflower reached Cape Cod and explored the coast. About 200 years later, Lewis and Clark, in the late stages of their expedition alongside Sacagawea, reached the Pacific Ocean. They became the first European Americans to cross the West. That was in 1805. In 1863, President Abraham Lincoln stood and said, 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The Gettysburg Address, 1863. 10 years later, William McGeer Tweed, also known as Boss Tweed of Tammany Hall in New York City, was convicted of defrauding the city of $6 million. and he was sent to jail for the next 12 years. I was curious, and I don't know that it always works exactly the way you think it's going to, but I popped out the old inflation calculator. I was curious what $6 million in 1873 would be equivalent to today. Oh, just a little over $171 million. This was not a small thief.
He was the boss for a reason, huh?
You know, I guess I appreciate if you're going to do it, you might as well do it big.
I mean, $171 million and some change on top of that.
And some change.
You think about it. How far $6 million likely would have gone then as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, $171 million today is a lot of money, obviously. But, I mean, you think about it. Women didn't work then. You had a single individual could have made a living for the whole family. So, I mean, the value of the dollar was stretched a lot further then. So, $6 million, that would have paved a lot of roads, let's say.
Yes. 1975, you had the film adaptation of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, based on the stage adaptation of the novel by Ken Kesey, directed by Milos Forman, with Jack Nicholson as the star alongside Louise Fletcher. It was released on this day. Won an Academy Award for Best Picture in 1976. In 1979, the Astros signed Nolan Ryan to what then was a record 4-year, $4.5 million contract. We're going to pay this guy $1 million a year to throw a baseball.
And boy, he could do it.
Another guy that could throw a baseball, Doc Gooden. 1984, he became the youngest National League Rookie of the Year at just 20 years old.
Dr. K, man.
Yes, he was.
I loved watching that guy pitch. He was just so smooth. Those were, I mean, literally my two favorite pitchers growing up, Dwight Gooden and Nolan Ryan. Pretty cool. I got to see all the Mets came down when I was a kid. The Double-A team here was the Mets. So they used to play the big team would come down and play. And every year that was one of my favorite treats. You get to sit on the grass over there, right there. They put some little seating down for the youngsters. That was really the coolest thing, I think, as a kid, was seeing Mookie and Hernandez and Lenny Dykstra, Nails, and that whole crew come in, and Dwight Gooden. That was I was addicted at that point at baseball. All right, this is what I want to do.
Smith Wills Stadium living its best life.
Oh, I loved Smith Wills, man. That was a playground when you were a kid.
What a Monday Night Football game in 2018. The Rams beat the Chiefs 54-51 at the LA Coliseum. It was the third highest scoring game in NFL history, the first time ever that two teams had both scored 50 points in a game. Pat Mahomes threw for 6 touchdowns. That was the most in Monday Night Football history. 2019, LeBron James had a triple-double, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists as the Lakers beat the Thunder 112-107. The significance? LeBron became the first player in NBA history to record a triple-double against all 30 franchises.
You know him. He had to have like a little legal pad over there, just checking him off as he went. Finally got there, got the last one.
Whatever it is, man.
No, I'm just saying,
made a season
he's so
debut
good.
last night. Been dealing with sciatica. 23rd year in the NBA for LeBron James. Finally, on this day in 2019, The Weeknd released his single Blinding Lights. It went on to become the longest charting song in the history of the Billboard Top 100. Spent 90 weeks as a top 100 song. Now you got to pull it up and try and figure out what that sounds like in your head, don't you?
Yeah, because I've never heard it. Probably.
I bet you have.
Yeah, I know I have.
Bet
I know
you
a little
have.
I know a little of The Weeknd.
Yeah. All right, some news headlines for you this morning. Both the House and the Senate acted decisively yesterday to pass a bill to force the Justice Department to publicly release its files on the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. A remarkable display of approval for an effort that just days before, certainly weeks and months before, had been opposed by the President of the United States. he had an about-face. You can decide the reason on Sunday. Said, just release it. Just vote to release it. Let's get it out there. We got nothing to hide. And once Congress got the okay, what was it, 417-1? You had one representative from Louisiana that voted against it. Small bipartisan group of House lawmakers introduced a petition in July to maneuver around Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, to get this to a vote. Trump and Johnson failed to prevent the vote. Handed it over to the Senate. And you know what they did in the Senate? They did exactly the thing that was suggested a week ago. They just had a unanimous consent vote. Nobody voted against it. So let's head to the president's desk. The one lawmaker that voted against it, Clay Higgins, Louisiana Republican who is a strong supporter of Trump, said he was worried that the legislation could lead to the release of information on innocent people mentioned in the federal legislation. Everybody else says that is a risk that we will take.
Maybe the one guy that held out on that and be that convinced that you're right when everybody else thinks they're right. Kind of a lonely place to be, I would imagine.
I would imagine so. The release has to happen within 30 days. All files and communications related to Epstein, as well as any information about the investigation into his death in federal prison, would allow the Justice Department to redact information about Epstein's victims or continuing investigations, but not information due to embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. More donations being made to help construct a public park to the old location of the Eudora Welty Library in Jackson. Department of Archives and History announced during a press conference yesterday $1.4 million in new funding has been attained to bring the Margaret Ann Krigler Park to life. $500,000 from the Phil Hardin Foundation, $500,000 from the Mississippi Arts Commission, and a pair of $200,000 donations made by donors who are choosing to stay anonymous. Park's going to be located next to the two Mississippi museums, designed to be a vibrant gathering place for families, students, and museum visitors. Will connect to Jackson's growing museum trail, about 3 miles of walking, running, and bike paths conjoining different parts of the city. Sports headlines coming up for you next. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Coffee, conversations, and clarity. What a great way to start your Mississippi day. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
I'm in love with you, girl, 'cause you're on my mind. You're the one I think about most every time. And when you crack a smile and everything you do, don't you understand, girl, this love is you're so sick of hand on.
That is not Country Music Wednesday, Lance.
I know, but anytime that you can highlight guys that wear spandex shorts and suit tops and long hair, Milli Vanilli, this is the day in history where the Grammy was stripped. I'm sorry I had to play it, man.
It's okay. I knew there had to be a reason. There had to be a purpose.
Yeah. Well, I had to pull one, but yeah, that was when you look at this day in history. I grew up, Milli Vanilli was the bomb, and then they weren't, two dudes that
Blame it on the rain.
Yeah, I mean they had two great songs, the Girl You Know It's True, Blame It on the Rain. I think there might have been another one. The reality was those two dudes never sang anything. But hey, they had
there's
a look.
another reality, and that's the possibility that those weren't actually that great of songs. We just were kind of prisoners of the moment.
They were terrible. No, I mean when you got, that's what I'm telling. I mean when the whole look, though. I mean it was. I went back and researched this years ago. They marketed it. They created a brand, and these dudes had the look. The spandex shorts and the suit top, long hair. They didn't care if they could sing or not. They said, "Hey, we can make some money off these dudes."
Yeah.
Sorry for them. They went along with it. They were like, "Yeah, we think we're good singers."
A place they will actually be singing, Belhaven University.
Yeah.
Coming up soon for the 93rd annual Singing Christmas Tree. It's actually December 5th and 6th at 7:30 at the Bellhaven Bowl Stadium, continuing the distinction of being the oldest event of its kind in the nation. First performed in 1933, the Singing Christmas Tree has grown into a large-scale spectacle featuring more than 100 student vocalists arranged on a towering tree-shaped platform illuminated by thousands of synchronized lights. What began with simple candles has transformed into a vibrant, choreographed display of color and sound. This year's program introducing new artistic elements, including a piano and violin duet enhanced by dancers performing to O Come, Emmanuel. We'll also include a whimsical rendition of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, offering a lighthearted moment for families. Been going on for nearly a century. It is free. Be sure to check that out.
Do you get into Christmas movies, like the old cartoon stuff? The Grinch and, the old stop-motion Rudolph movie and all that stuff?
Rudolph movie, no. Grinch, I'm fine with. Garfield Christmas, 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000.
I love Garfield. I have 2 Garfields at the house, so yeah, I'm a big Garfield fan here.
Yeah. More cars and more jobs coming to Mississippi with Toyota's latest investment into hybrid vehicles. The auto giant announced yesterday that it is investing $912 million across 5 manufacturing plants to increase hybrid capacity, including bringing the hybrid electric Corolla to the U.S. production lineup. And that's actually coming to Toyota Mississippi in Blue Springs. Going to be the first U.S. plant to assemble electrified Corollas. Other Toyota plants included in the investment are in West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Missouri. The Blue Springs plant already represents a $1.3 billion investment and employs about 2,400 people. The investment in hybrid vehicles will make for an extra $125 million being invested into operations and employees at the plant just outside of Tupelo. Glad to be with you. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. It is time for your sports headlines, your morning sports update, brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Online, pearlriverresort.com. In person, just a great time. Just a great time. Casino fun, casino thrills, family fun, and live entertainment. They've got it all at Pearl River Resort, pearlriverresort.com. Finalists announced for the 2025 Connerly Trophy. Best college football player in the state of Mississippi. 9 nominees. Each year the trophy is presented to the player that sports writers and broadcasters determine to be the best in the state. This is the 30th anniversary of the Connerly Trophy. The way it works, each 4-year college university gets to nominate one player from their team, and then those players are voted on by the aforementioned folks. Your nominees this year, your finalists this year, Alcorn State, Jacorian Sewell, running back. Bellhaven, Wyatt Beck, a linebacker. Delta State, William Carter IV, also a linebacker. Jacobian Morgan from Jackson State, their quarterback. Grant Biziak from Millsaps, quarterback there. Man, his hometown, Trophy Club, Texas.
There's got to be some deer there, huh?
You think?
Yeah. Some hogs and deer.
Brennan Thompson, the wide receiver from Mississippi State, the Bulldogs nominee. Mississippi Valley has put up Josh Brown, their quarterback. Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss, its quarterback. Southern Miss, Braylon Braxton, its quarterback. And we shall see who wins that award. That'll be the Monday night after Thanksgiving, after the Egg Bowl, that following Monday in Jackson, back at the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame this year. Those renovations are done, and they're excited. It's going to be a little bit different style program this year. Not going to be quite as long, not going to have the sit-down dinner, but some really cool stuff that's going to happen. Yesterday, we got edition 3 of the college football playoff poll for 2025. As Lane Kiffin mulls his next move, the Ole Miss football team continues to be in the driver's seat for its first ever college football playoff appearance. Rebs moved up a spot to number 6 in the latest rankings after beating Florida by 10 last week, and Alabama losing to Oklahoma. If playoffs were to begin today, Ole Miss would be hosting the Miami Hurricanes in Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. Those games, first-round games, are going to be played over 2 days. One of them on Friday night, December 19th, and then 3 of them the next day, Saturday, December 20th. The winners of those 4 games will go on to meet the 4 highest-ranked conference champions. No. 4 highest-ranked teams in games that will be played at the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Rose Bowl. Ohio State stayed number 1, as did Indiana at 2 and Texas A&M at 3. Your next 4 teams all moved up 1 spot. Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, and Oregon. Oklahoma made a 3-spot jump from 11 to 8. Notre Dame stayed put at 9. Alabama fell 6 spots from number 4 to number 10, followed by BYU at 11, Utah at 12, Miami at 13. Then you've got Vanderbilt. Texas dropped 7 spots after their loss last week. Tennessee jumped a few spots to number 20. Missouri's in there at 22. The highest-ranked G4 team, group of 4 team, is Tulane. And so if you played it right now, remembering that your 5 highest-ranked conference champions are guaranteed to be in the field, and by the way, they're not projecting conference champions right now, they're just taking rankings to put the 12th team together. You would have in first-round games Tulane at Texas Tech in a 12-5 game. Winner meets Georgia. Notre Dame at Oklahoma in the 9-8 game with the winner meeting Ohio State. Miami in Oxford taking Ole Miss in the 11-6. Winner gets Texas A&M. And the 10-7 would be Alabama at Oregon. Winner meeting Indiana. Got a chance to be really, really cool. Really cool. Only thing standing between Ole Miss and some form of that is a win in the Egg Bowl in 9 days. Mississippi State perhaps with other ideas, so we shall see. College basketball last night. Ole Miss was at home against Austin Peay, and man, they had the cruise control on, had it set on about 77. Seat was laid back a little bit, just cruising down the road with not a worry in the world, leading by 17 in the second half, and whoop, here comes Austin Peay. A 14-0 run for the Governors. Made a bunch of shots, turned Ole Miss over a little bit. It was like Ole Miss kind of hit the rumble strip because they drifted off to sleep over on the side of the road. Well, they pulled off. Shook the sleepiness out.
Get some smelling salts out.
Popped a Red Bull and ended up winning by 7, 72-65. Leading scorer for Ole Miss, Malik Dia, 18 points and 7 rebounds for him. Comardine had 15. A.J. Storr had 11. Rebels now 5-0 on the year, and they will play next Tuesday out in Palm Desert, California. Timeout right now. Those are your sports headlines, your sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort. We will check the numbers when we come back.
From the Venable Glass Traffic Center, I'm Patty Steele. Venable Glass in Ridgeland and Brandon, locally owned and operated with free mobile service for you in the Tri-County area. We are working an accident I-55 at Old Canton Road, southbound on frontage, so expect delays if you're in the area. Need heavy haul transportation you can trust? Call Southeastern Services. They move the big stuff with care and precision. From oversized loads to machinery, call Southeastern Services, your trusted partner on the road. 601-292-9932.
Here's little Addie Ravenstein, Corey Ravenstein's daughter, and the 5th generation at Juniker Jewelry Company.
My favorite jewelry store in the world is Juniker Jewelry. At Juniker's, I come out and help to escape from school. I like serving customers and cleaning the jewelry before my dad catches me. And one day, I made my first sale to a woman. Well, it was my grandmother, though, but hey, who cares? It's still a customer. So she wanted to look at a pair of hoop earrings. She has a ton of them. I remember that she wanted some golden medium kind of size hoops with diamonds in them. I took them out, put them on top of the glass counter, and I let her play around for a little bit. She found just the right pair, and it was golden. She liked some silver ones too, but then again she had a bunch of silver ones, so she went with gold. We have a ton of diamond earrings at Juniker's. At Juniker Jewelry, they can make them a lot bigger. I love jewelry.
Juniker Jewelry Company, celebrating 80 years as Mississippi's direct diamond importer. 1485 Highland Colony Parkway and JunikerJewelry.com.
Patriotism is alive at 8 Complete Flag Source. Flag holidays are celebrated all year as we honor those who serve both at home and abroad. Fly your U.S. flag every day with a U.S.-made flag from 8 Complete Flag Source. We also have a huge stock of state, historic, and military flags and flagpoles for your home, school, or business. So shop local at a 25-year-old family-owned business, A Complete Flag Source, 5295 I-55 North in Jackson, 601-362-9333, or CompleteFlags.com.
If you're feeling anxious about your investments with all the economic volatility and chaos in Washington, tune in to SuperTalk Jackson on Wednesdays from 9 to 10 a.m. and Sundays from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. for Element Wealth Radio with Jeremy Nelson. Learn more at myelementwealth.com.
So Pure Jackson is at 4th and Goal Sports Cafe. The wings, the chicken tenders and bites, fried or grilled, and the best specialty pizzas in the metro. Call 769-208-8283. That's 769-208-8283. 769-208-8283.
Ready to turn your idle equipment into cash? Purple Wave Auction is your solution. We specialize in no-reserve online auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
Are you thinking about retirement, or are you recently retired? Do you have a plan, or do you have a drawer full of statements? If your answer is the latter, then you're not retirement planning, you're retirement hoping. Risks and inflation are rising, and planning is critical now. At Element Wealth, our exclusive 360 process can create a strategy to help protect what you've worked so hard to build while still providing growth. To start the conversation, visit myelementwealth.com or call 601-957-6006. 601-957-6006.
Go beyond the headlines on Middays with Gerard Gibbert. Weekdays 10 to 1 here on SuperTalk Mississippi. You're waking up to what matters. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Thanks for being with us. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm. Glad to have you along for the ride. You can join the conversation on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. No jackpot winner last night with Lotto America. The estimated jackpot is now up to $7.3 million with an estimated cash value of $3,410,000. Powerball, no jackpot winner in the most recent drawing, which was on, when was that? Monday. Yeah, Monday night. So you got another one tonight. 593 milli. Cash value $277,600,000. Monday night's numbers were 7, 33, 50, 57, 66. The Powerball was 23, and the Power Play multiplier was 5. The Mississippi Lottery has big news starting today. You can download the Mississippi Lottery official app in the Apple App Store and at Google Play. The brand new convenience app lets you scan your tickets, enter second chance promotions, check winning numbers and jackpots, and even find the nearest lottery retailer all from your phone. It's fast, simple, and secure. The Mississippi Lottery's first official app is here, and it's built to make your play easier than ever. Search Mississippi Lottery Official in the App Store and download it today. Does that mean, if I've got a Powerball ticket, I can just open up the app, scan the barcode on the Powerball ticket, and it's either going to tell me winner, winner, chicken dinner, or
I hope that's how easy.
You still stink. Please play again.
You know, it's something that we've had a lot asked for over the years. I mean, they keep innovating and keeping the lottery fresh and cool. I'm glad that that's a piece of what they've added. I'm about to go look and see just to make sure what we're dealing with on the app.
Very good. Very, very good. That's your Mississippi Lottery update brought to you, as you guessed, by the Mississippi Lottery online at mslottery.com.
Yeah, it says that you use your smartphone to scratch your scratch off and draw style game tickets to instantly check if you're a winner. Second chance drawing, submit eligible non-winning scratch off tickets into the second chance promotional drawings for another opportunity to win, so on and so forth, such as finding a retailer, winning numbers, etc. You can go to the Mississippi Lottery Corporation, and app is available on the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. So
this feels like a big deal to me.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, man, it's a big deal.
As opposed to I've got the numbers pulled up on my phone, and I'm holding my ticket over here, and I'm going, hold on, is there a 17? Is there 7? Okay, there's a 17. How about a 26? No, wait. Just the back and forth that you do.
Yeah, so you're looking for it. It's Mississippi Lottery Official on Google Play and Mississippi Lottery Official on the App Store. So there you go.
Very good. A little heads up on what is coming up with you this morning. Dr. Alan Jones from UMMC will be by this morning. We'll talk with him about some construction updates on the UMC campus, the NCI Cancer Center progress, opening of the Clark Center for Medically Fragile Children. Some really cool stuff related to that we will tell you about this morning. That's all with Dr. Alan Jones. He's Vice-Chancellor of Health Affairs at UMMC. Also, I think for the first time, Bruce LeVell, longtime senior advisor to President Trump and former Small Business Administration advocate, going to join us on behalf of the White House this morning. We'll talk with Bruce about some of the things that are happening in and around D.C., and then a whole bunch of other stuff with you this morning. Did you see this? Joshua Ray Bullock was sentenced to 20 years in prison, 17 of which will be served in the custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections. This is the Gulfport man who was charged in a manslaughter death at Cruising the Coast 2 years ago. Driving erratically at the annual car show. Prosecutors stated that the investigation into the homicide began in October of 2023 when the Biloxi Police Department responded to Starbucks in front of Edgewater Mall, receiving a report of a motor vehicle involving a accident involving a fatality. On arrival, they determined that Bullock struck the vehicle of Donnelly Wilson as she and her daughter were packing up after an afternoon of watching the car show. Wilson, who was 67 years old at the time, was pinned between her vehicle and the Starbucks sign. She died on scene. Video surveillance later showed that Bullock entered the south side of the mall parking lot, was speeding, was doing donuts in the parking lot, then entered the Starbucks at a high rate of speed, lost control, missed the other vehicles, but struck Wilson and killed her. Tragic story all the way around. Bullock later claimed that he was suffering from hallucinations at the time of the crash. Mornings with Richard Cross, 7 o'clock hour is on the way. News is next. We're back with you right after this.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
When they ask where you heard it, you tell them.
I know you heard it right here.
Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
They were farm kids way down in Dixie, met in high school in the 60s. Everyone knew it was love from the start. One July in the midnight hour, he climbed up on the water tower, stood on the rail and painted a 10-foot heart. And John
Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi, presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. They have locations all over the state of Mississippi. Newest location at 403 Russell Street in Starkville, but also their loan production office in Jackson. They've got an office in Laurel. They're in Memphis and in Tupelo, multiple locations there in South Haven and Sandersville and Ridgeland and Raleigh and Pearl and Pascagoula and Olive Branch and Ocean Springs and all the points in between. Community Bank, thrilled to be part of your community, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. 7 o'clock hour is here. We're glad to have you along. Dr. Alan Jones will join us in about half an hour. We look forward to that conversation this morning.
Think about, that song, John Deere Green with Joe Diffie, Billy Bob Loves Charlene. You don't see that painted on water towers much anymore. I guess he would probably be incarcerated at this point. But that was a thing for a long time. You had the spray paint over the overpasses and the water towers always had some love note or something on it. You don't see that anymore. I'm not saying it should. It's how times
Are the water
change.
towers taller than they used to be?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe there's locks on them or something. Yeah, you don't see
a little
that
better
anymore.
security.
Yeah.
Got cameras.
Yeah, you got a Karen for sure somewhere.
Got a Karen or a bunch. I mean, the visual that I have right now is thinking about the tall powder blue water tower in my hometown, and if you just happened to look up there one day and somebody had somehow scaled it and like on the underside of it, Spider-Man style, taking a can of spray paint and, written Richard Loves Jane up there.
Maybe we just aren't as, risky anymore. Like kids would do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we used to hang out, us Northwest Rankinites. There was a water tower not far from
I bet
the
y'all
school.
were big graffiti folks, weren't
Yeah, I mean, we're a bunch of hunting dudes. We didn't really, not into the graffiti stuff. But, we hung out around the moon tower, so to speak, at the back of Castlewoods back in the day. So that was, I guess everybody had a water tower in their town or area. That was the tallest thing, so you had to let everybody know Billy Bob Loves Charlene.
This hour of Mornings with Richard Cross brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR benefits and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services, plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today at 601-206-7966. 601-206-7966 or go to mwgemployerservices.com. Going to be interested to see where this story goes. Yesterday, a federal court in a 2-1 panel decision blocked the state of Texas from using a redrawn United States House map that touched off the nationwide redistricting battle and is a major piece of Donald Trump's effort to preserve a slim Republican majority ahead of the 2026 elections. Friends, this is potentially a really big deal. We'll get to why in just a second. The ruling is a blow to Trump's rush to create those more favorable political districts for Republicans in next year's midterms, at least for now. Texas has already filed an appeal with the United States Supreme Court after Governor Greg Abbott and other Republicans publicly defended the map, which was engineered to give Republicans 5 additional House seats. In a 2-1 ruling, a panel of federal judges in El Paso sided with opponents who argued that Texas's unusual summer redrawing of congressional districts would harm black and Hispanic residents. The decision, authorized by Jeffrey Brown, the U.S. District Judge there in El Paso, who was a Trump nominee from the president's first term. To be sure, politics played a role in redrawing the 2025 map, but it was much more than just politics. Substantial evidence shows that Texas racially gerrymandered the 2025 map, the ruling states. Is it racial gerrymandering or political gerrymandering? The decision comes amid a widening national battle over redistricting. Missouri and North Carolina followed Texas with the new maps, adding an additional Republican seat in each. Now, what was my big uh-oh at the beginning of this? Well, California voters approved a ballot initiative to give Democrats an additional 5 seats there. The Trump administration filed a federal lawsuit challenging that map. Pam Bondi calling it a brazen power grab. Gavin Newsom celebrating the ruling from Texas yesterday. Of course, every politician celebrates in one place and one place only. That's X. Donald Trump and Greg Abbott played with fire, got burned, and democracy won, the California governor posted. If this ruling is upheld by the Supreme Court that was designed to give Texas 5 additional seats, and the ruling in California is that redistricting there is okay because it was done as a ballot measure through the voice of the people of the state of California, wouldn't that be a swing? Because all of this redistricting was basically going to end up in a wash. Right? 5 in Texas, going to go Republican. 5 in California. Oh, those are going to be Democrat. Well, you get 1 in Missouri, and you get 1 in North Carolina, and you lose 1 in Illinois, and here and there. And it was going to basically be a wash. Might have ended up being plus a couple for Republicans, at least on paper going in. But if this ruling is upheld in Texas, then they go, no, Texas, you're not going to be able to do that. And so you don't pick up 5 Republican likely congressional seats. And in California, it's not overturned. Man, did you miscalculate things? What is the Supreme Court ultimately going to say? Is this ruling from Texas going to be affected by the ruling ultimately that's happening in Louisiana versus Calais? It feels like everything keeps going back to that case, focused on the Voters' Right Act. And remember, the question at play, if you're not following Supreme Court politics, if you will, it's not really politics, but you understand what I'm saying. If you're not following case law and following the debate with regard to the Supreme Court, the question at stake there is, can you draw voting district lines based on race. And the Voting Rights Act from the late 60s said, yes, you can, and you should. Louisiana, the state of, is arguing that may be what the Voter Rights Act says, but the Constitution of the United States of America says, no, actually, you can't draw voting district lines simply based on the color of a person's skin who lives there.
And remember, you got a voter ID initiative in California, too, that'll be a big piece of that. So remember, they don't have ID when you vote. So got to have a petition of 875,000 signatures on the ballot by 2026 in order to have voter ID on the in California. So that would have a big impact.
Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. We roll on with you right after this.
From the Venable Glass.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
You heard it here first.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Here comes the news.
We chased Lady Luck till we finally struck Bonanza. With a gun and a rope and a hat full of hope, we planted our family tree. We got a hold of a pot full of gold Bonanza. With a horse and a saddle and a ring full of cattle, how rich could a fella be? On this land we put our brand, our pride is the name. Fortune smiled the day we filed the Ponderosa claim. Here in the West we're living in the best Bonanza.
Love it. Mornings with Richard Cross. Thanks for joining us. 601-879-4395. That is the number for the C Spire text line. Check them out, 601-879. Again, join the conversation, 601-879-4395. The C Spire text line always open to you. It's the best way to connect with us, especially during the show. Reminder that C Spire's already got their Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals online at cspire.com. Great savings, up to $1,000 off on a new iPhone. An opportunity as well for you to get a free Samsung Galaxy S25?
That's the one they keep showing, yeah.
S25, yeah. cspire.com. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right now. Let's see. Thomas in Greenwood. He sent us a bunch. Trying to decide. There are a couple of things that he sent this morning. I was like, oh, yeah, that's actually interesting. But then he sent 12 other things. This was it. Republicans can easily win the midterms if the economy and jobs improved like the Trump administration promised during the campaign. No redrawing of districts needed.
Your economy improves immensely if you get rent prices and home prices back to reasonable. And, all these deportations, they believe, going to have a lasting impact there. So we'll see. But that'll, when you have more money in your pocket every month, because you're, generally the biggest cost in your life, your rent or your mortgage and health care also, if you can get those in order, the economy improves dramatically when people have more money in their pocket. You don't have to go build a ton of houses. I've been through this before. When you had a shortage in houses, you go, well, what was the problem? Well, we went out and built a ton of houses, and all of a sudden you start loaning to people that maybe not have the best credit to fill those homes. So we're in a precarious situation where you got to be careful that you don't overbuild and do all this stuff. So, it's a one step at a time, man. We can't get in a hurry. No cart before the horse. But the conditions are there. We just need to take the right steps, I think. I've been through that in 2007, and we don't want to make missteps here.
Yeah.
Because things can get upside down quickly. It's just loans are the thing that'll get you in trouble. And that's the way it is for average people as well,
Yeah. Somebody asked on the C Spire text line, did I see or read yesterday that a California judge said that the federal government could not keep illegal aliens from getting a commercial driver's license to drive trucks? Unfortunately, I think the answer to that is yes. I was trying to find the story. Here we go. A D.C. court blocked the FMCSA, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration's non-domiciled CDL rule. The ongoing debate over non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses. Non-domiciled means you don't live here. Has intensified following a series of major federal and state developments. The FMCSA, which placed heavy restrictions on non-resident CDLs, has been temporarily halted by the United States Court of Appeals for D.C. The decision came after a lawsuit filed on behalf of longtime CDL holder Jorge Rivera Luan, who argued that the rule unjustly prevented him from renewing his license. With the stay in effect, state licensing agencies can resume issuing and renewing non-domiciled CDLs until the court makes a final decision.
Seems like a no-brainer, man. I mean, what are we doing these days? Literally a court in D.C. overruling that.
There was a court in Washington, D.C. that heard a case from someone that is illegal.
Yeah, right.
Who has had a commercial driver's license for some period of time. We'll say a long time. But he's illegal. And he went to court, and he was like, hey, they just made a rule that said I can't get my CDL anymore. I'm here illegally, but I've been doing it. And a court said, well, hold on a second.
Yeah, hold on now.
We got to put an injunction in place. We might rule on this more later, but for now, yes, sir. You, Mr. Illegal, you can go get your commercial driver's license.
Curious,
you cannot make this up.
No, you can't.
If it was satire, like you would assume it's satire. If it was a movie script, you'd be like, that's ludicrous. That's stupid. It sounds more like a political comic book than it does real life.
Or a cash grab, too. Let's not, always follow the money. I mean, when 17,000 people that can't speak English.
Never mind about the money even for a second.
Who's getting paid off?
Make this make sense. Like, say it out loud. Like, sit in a room by yourself and read a story like this out loud. And, like, listen to it as you were saying it. Like, this can't be right.
Well, half the country actually.
This can't be true. And yet there may be some of you that are celebrating this ruling.
There are.
Like you're celebrating open borders, celebrating the rulings on redistricting. Like you believe these are the things that are good for our country. And that's, to me, ultimately deep down, like that's what I genuinely don't understand. I understand that we, based on our life experiences and how we're raised and what we're taught, we can see the world through a different lens. But I have so much trouble taking an issue and looking at it where it is, I mean, it's just the blackest of black and white to me. It's like, okay, this is right and this is wrong. And a person who might be my same age and might even have come from a similar background than I have come from can look at the exact same issue and be like, oh, no, Richard, you're wrong. That is. And I'm like, I mean, are you just being a contrarian for fun? Because you can't actually believe that. And yet people do. That is the state of the Democrat mind.
Communist mind. I mean, let's be honest. It's funny when the biggest communist powers on the planet abandon that junk to move in more of a freer market, democratic style way. Now, granted, China's still very heavy-handed at the top, but I mean, when you abandon communism, and yet half the country, a party, the Democrats here in this country, are embracing a failed economic and political system. Period. Love it. Want more of it. But it's been proven to be garbage. But hey, let's just bring it on, man. These are all the same things that were happening in Mother Russia. These are the things that were happening in China. Yeah, same kind of stuff. It really is interesting how little history people know, especially half the country. It's like they said, hey, none of this matters. Nothing's ever happened before in the world. Let's just do it this way. Let's embrace it. You got to really worry about those folks. Yeah, their mental condition.
C-Spire text line 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395.
Good one there. And don't mention names, but deal in this business and CDL drivers that I'm in contact with every day that can't speak a word of English. We're in Mississippi. We're not talking about California. We're talking about Mississippi. But no, that's good. That's good for business. Again, follow the money. If things don't make sense, follow the money. 17,000 people in California writing checks to somebody to get an illegal license.
Dr. Alan Jones is my guest on the other side of this time out. He's the Associate Vice-Chancellor of Health Affairs at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. We'll talk construction projects, National Cancer Institute, Cancer Center progress, opening of the Clark Center for Medically Fragile Children, and a whole lot more. Good to be with you this morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV.
Corn feed him on, all I need is pretty little girl, feed him wet and gone. Bake 'em biscuits, baby, bake 'em good and brown. When you get them biscuits, bake 'em round about me pound. I got a pig at home to feed, corn feed him on, all I need is pretty little girl, feed him wet and gone.
This segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Welcome. Check this out. Now, what can be offered to you?
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Information.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
It's a holy place my daddy showed me back before this lamb of mine.
Good to be with you on this Wednesday morning, middle of the week, 19th of November. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. Always enjoy our conversations with Dr. Alan Jones. He is the Vice-Chancellor of Health Affairs at UMMC, where a lot is going on. Good, Dr. Jones, good morning.
Good morning, Richard. How are you?
Good. Good to see you this morning.
You too.
I have said to Dr. Woodward and to you before that every time I drive by the campus of UMMC, I'm like, it's not what it looked like 10 years ago. It's not what it looked like a dozen years ago. It's constant. And I was kind of going through some of the construction projects, and these are not small projects. It's 150,000 square feet here, and then another 130,000, and then 140,000. It just seems to be ongoing.
Yeah, it definitely, there's a lot going on. You know, we're almost like a little city inside of a city. There's a lot that we have to keep up with. In terms of the campus right now, we have a school of nursing going up, new school of nursing building. It is going to be on the north central part of the campus, and then we have a school of dentistry building that is just starting right behind that. So those are really the two new buildings that people will see on campus.
When you build new, is it to replace what's there, or is it for the ability to increase capacity, whether you're talking about student capacity or patient capacity or just the ability to service those who need it?
It could be both. So, for example, in the School of Nursing, the goal is twofold. Number one, we would like to continue to train more nurses for the state of Mississippi. Nurses are in shortage. I mean, at any given time at UMMC, we probably have 300 plus nurse openings. So anything we can do to increase our capacity to train nurses is a good thing for us. It's a good thing for other health entities in the state. And, you know, what happens is we begin to outstrip the facility and we need more space. And so then we have to do an analysis of, is it a better use of our money to just build a new building that gives us more space or to renovate an existing building? And, you know, if we go the renovation route, there's just a lot of details that have to be dealt with because, you know, some of the parts of renovation, the building was built in 1955. So you're not just talking about putting paint on the walls and, you know, carpet on the ceiling. You're talking about having to get into the guts of the building and redo the infrastructure. Yeah, it's a lot. It can be a lot. And a lot of times the architectural renderings that we have from the time are not accurate. So we'll tear into a wall and, you know, we find things that we didn't expect. So for these two projects, new buildings, new facilities, because of the expansion in the dental school, there's patient care that goes on. And so, you know, the old dental school or the current dental school, the patient care facilities really need to be upgraded and modernized so that the patients that are coming in and out of there have a facility that, you know, really feels like they're in modern day and not in the 1960s.
Is that just what it looks like, or in terms of technology within the, like, there have been huge advancements in dental technology?
Yeah, we can keep up with the technology. It's more just the aesthetics of the building and the infrastructure and those types of things.
You mentioned at any one given time, you might have 300 openings for nurses at UMMC, at the hospital itself. How many nurses in a year are you producing, new nurses?
That's a good number. So the last check I saw was just before enrollment this year. We have just south of 1,000 nurses enrolled in our nursing programs.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that many will graduate each year, but it's somewhere on the order of around 300 to, you know, between 300 and 400 that will graduate each year. So that's what we produce for the state. Now, we have, you know, both traditional, which is the 2-year, you end up with a BSN degree. And then we have an accelerated program where it's students who already have a bachelor's degree, and then they come back in and they do their nursing school in a year instead of 2 years. Okay. And we have both of those programs in Jackson and in Oxford.
Is there are other schools, universities in the state that have nursing programs. Is there any collaboration between UMMC and the W's got a great nursing school, and William Cary's producing nurses, and other schools. Is there work together because we're all kind of chasing the same nursing shortage within the state?
Yes, there is. Most of the work together is in the clinical arena.
Okay.
So most of these schools have all of these schools have their own classrooms and teachers and those types of things. But, you know, one of the unique things about UMMC is we're health profession schools, but we also have the clinical facilities and expertise to train those students in the clinical setting. So most of the other nursing schools, not most of them, but some of the other nursing schools send their students into our hospitals and clinics and other areas, and that's where they get their hands-on clinical training. At any given time, we have about 1,000 learners on our campus in our facilities that are not our students.
Wow. Well, that's significant number. We're visiting with Dr. Alan Jones. He's the Associate Vice-Chancellor of Health Affairs at the university. We've talked with you, with Dr. Woodward, with Dr. Riccone about this audacious goal that UMMC took on, I mean, I guess it's probably been in the works for a long time, but really the last couple of years really focused on that National Cancer Institute designation. That's not an overnight thing. It's a long process. Where are you kind of in the process right now in getting to the point where you receive that designation, or hope to receive that designation?
Right. Well, you're right, Richard. It is a long process. I mean, I'd say generally, somewhere between the 7 and 10 year time frame it takes to put everything in place that you need to achieve that designation. We started the process probably about 3.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, some time frame of planning before Dr. Riccone came in. And I know you've talked to Dr. Riccone. He's the head of our cancer center, and he's been with us for about 2.5 years, and he really has got the blueprint and is walking through the various steps. The biggest part of it is to bring in all of these researchers that will do the research that is required to hit the threshold to make the application. So National Cancer Institute designation is really a research designation, and it shows that you have the expertise in multiple different areas to achieve what the National Cancer Institute says is, excellence in research and clinical cancer care. And it requires $10 million of qualifying funding. So there's a lot of people, estimated about 30 researchers with funding that you would need to achieve that.
Is that a rolling number? Forgive me for interrupting. Is that a rolling number? Like you have to maintain $10 million that is actively involved, or is that a one-time?
You have to have that amount of funding at each renewal, right? So you have to do it in order to qualify the first time, and then you get certified as a National Cancer Institute designated cancer center, and then each 5 years you have to reapply and be recertified. So at those 5-year marks, then you would have to have that same amount of funding, or a lot of people achieve more than that.
Sure.
But the important thing about the NCI designation is that it opens the door to a lot of other opportunities for actual clinical care. It allows the institution that has achieved it to get access to clinical trials that they didn't have access to before, certain types of new therapies that are coming, on the market, and those types of things. And that's good for patients because in a lot of ways, cancer care, the standard of care is research trials. A lot of things about cancer we still don't know about. And, for example, breast cancer or prostate cancer, just because you have breast cancer or prostate cancer doesn't mean that every one of them looks alike. And depending on the genetic markers and various other things, they may be treated very differently. And some types of those types of cancer we don't know how to treat effectively yet.
Fascinating stuff. We're visiting with Dr. Alan Jones. He's the Associate Vice-Chancellor of Health Affairs at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll continue this conversation. And on the backside of this week, so we talked about the research funding that's got to be in place. What are the infrastructure requirements that have to be in place if you're going to be an NCI-designated cancer center? We'll get to that coming up next. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community, communitybank.net. We're back with you, more MRC right after this.
Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
From the Venable Glass.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
The monitor switch lets you hear
breaking news. Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi will be at Scruggs Farm Lawn and Garden in South Tillow today, gearing up for Super Santa on Saturday with holiday specials in clothing, sporting goods, feed, and John Deere equipment. Scruggs Farm Lawn and Garden, 3575 Tom Watson Drive in South Tillow. That is this afternoon from 3 to 6 on Sports Talk Mississippi. Dr. Alan Jones is my guest from UMMC this morning, talking a lot about the National Cancer Institute designation that UMMC is working toward, a long process. And you talked about some of the research funding. What about the infrastructure and facilities? A major fundraising campaign going on right now. A target number of $125 million, nearly halfway there in just a little over a year. In terms of fundraising, there was a really important lead gift that came from Sandy and John Black. I think it was $25 million to jumpstart it. That's significant, but a long way to go. What role does facilities play in that NCI designation?
Well, let me just say Sandy and John Black have been our biggest champions, and we're so grateful for them and what they've done. You know, it's really not only was a jump start, but just has been such a pleasure to work with them and all they've done to support UMMC. You know, this is a transformational gift, and the project is transformational for the citizens of the state. The facility that we envision is really a full-scale facility for all types of patient care that you would need for cancer.
Okay.
People that unfortunately have had to deal with this in the past may know that, you know, if you get diagnosed with cancer, let's say you have a colonoscopy and are found to have, you know, a colon mass, you go somewhere to get your colonoscopy, and then you get referred to a surgeon who has a different office, and then you have to get that taken out, and you have to go to a different surgery facility, and then you might need chemotherapy, and you're going to a different infusion center, and all of those places generally are located in different either parts of a campus or in different facilities completely.
Yeah.
And it can be very, you know, difficult for patients in the midst of, you know, something as severe as just being diagnosed with cancer to navigate all that. So really what we're trying to do is bring all of that under one roof so that, you know, I go to this place, and when I walk in this place, I can see an oncologist, I can see a surgeon, I can see a social worker, a patient navigator, a pharmacist to get my medication, you know, a radiation oncologist to get my radiation, I can get my CT scan there, all the things under one roof. And that's really a patient-centered type of care delivery. It's, you know, good for patients. It gets the clinicians all talking to each other and collaborating. And that's what leads to the best outcomes in cancer. So in the facility we're talking about, it will have all of the things that will be needed other than inpatient beds to take care of a patient that has been diagnosed with cancer. And we'll have some research labs, you know, not necessarily like animal labs, but, you know, there's a lot of research that goes on in the labs that's not animal-based. So researchers will be there, and that helps them know, oh, these are the types of cancers that they see a lot, and I need to focus on.
Where are you going to build that, Alan?
So those of you that are familiar with the campus, we have some green space that is in front of the Veterans Memorial Stadium. There's a Backyard Burger that used to be there in that green space. And then on the north end of it is the American Cancer Center Hope Lodge. And between the Hope Lodge and the street that goes into the parking lot, there is 7 or 8 acres of land, and that land right there will be where the cancer center and a garage that supports it will go.
Okay. And that's locked in?
That is locked in because we really needed to make a decision about where it would go, and we looked at various options, and that's really the only land that we have that wouldn't, you know, more congest our campus, and is right next to the Hope Lodge, which is really good for patients because their families and they may be going back and forth from that facility.
Gotcha. When you were describing the cancer center, I mean, feels like such an elementary example, but it almost feels like if you go to a Walmart Supercenter where you can buy eggs and you can get paper plates and you can get a gallon of paint and an extension cord and you can pick up a hunting license and grab some toys for the kids. Like, it's one-stop shopping, kind of all under one roof.
That's right. Get it all there, and it is a lot better for patients and their families, instead of having to we have to navigate people around our campus all day long, any of us that are out walking around. And, this will be so much easier just to say, go to this place.
Yeah. There's more happening at UMMC that we don't have time to get to this morning, and I will look forward to our next conversation as well. Thanks so much for the update. Really appreciate all the work that you and the entire team at UMMC are doing.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Richard.
We'll talk to you soon. Dr. Alan Jones, Associate Vice-Chancellor of Health Affairs, which sometimes includes construction and fundraising and all of the other things that are going on at UMMC. 8 o'clock hour is on the way. The news is next. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. We're back with you right after this.
Let it rest in peace and quiet love. Walk softly on this heart of mine. Walk on.
Your RC Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's get on with the show.
Check it out. Super Talk, Mississippi.
Everybody going out and having fun.
8 o'clock hour, good morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Appreciate you making the program part of your start to the day. C Spire text line is open at 601-879-4395. Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals available right now online at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. Got another guest joining us right now. Bruce LeVell is a longtime senior advisor to President Trump, former Small Business Administration advocate for the White House as well. Bruce, appreciate some of your time this morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Let's jump into a ruling that was handed down yesterday. U.S. District Court in Texas, the El Paso U.S. District Court hands down this 2-1 ruling that says the redistricting efforts of Texas cannot go into place. The state of Texas is appealing it to the Supreme Court. How big a deal is this in your mind in the redistricting conversation that is ongoing, especially in light of what California just passed with their ballot initiative?
Yeah. Well, I said that it just really is just going to depend on the judge. I mean, and state by state, and I know a lot of these judges, most I know, especially some here in Georgia, are cowards when it comes to anything dealing with the election process. And they love to punt it. They love to punt it and kick a field goal and get it out of them and just hand it to the next person. So It wouldn't surprise me on a lot of these decisions that get punted over to the appeals, because most of these majority judges, especially some of the ones here in Georgia, are very sheepish when it comes to dealing with our election laws, et cetera. And some sit on the bench with the pandering mindset. Well, if we move it here, then there's just too many people of color and disadvantage. So this doesn't surprise me. So like I said, a lot of these cases, unfortunately, or these decisions for redistricting are going to run up the pole to the Supreme Court.
How much do you think these cases are tied to what the Supreme Court is reviewing right now in Louisiana versus Calais, the review of, in a lot of ways, the Voting Rights Act, and saying that you can't just draw district lines based on skin color?
Well, I always felt that I believe in the process, and, it's the voters. And, the House majority in any state, for that matter, if they're the majority, then obviously they're doing something that the people like or really like about them, is why they get elected. So if they have the majority and they see fit that they need to, if they want to redistrict or whatever the law they want to put in, and they have the votes, then that's how a republic was designed. It was never designed to, pander to a particular culture, or every American has the opportunity to go to the polls. Every American has the opportunity to vote whoever they want to vote for, and if the Republicans have the better plan, for the voters, then so be it. If the Democrats have the better plan for the voters, so be it. So if whoever ends as the majority, then obviously, if you don't like that decision that they're making in that majority, then obviously there's a thing called a vote. So I think meddling and with from the judicial branches to we the people by the people is going down a very dangerous path.
I feel like a key word that you said there was Americans. We're talking about Americans voting for policies of the United States of America, as opposed to illegals that are voting, and others who, dead people that are voting in some cases. Obviously, there have been lots and lots of questions about election integrity in your state, the state of Georgia, and that continues to be a big conversation. Georgia does require photo ID. We got a lot of places that don't. This is something that the president and this administration have said we need to get this in across the board. Do you feel like there's enough momentum to get that done in all 50 states?
Well, it makes sense. You're not going to sign a lease of an apartment without a valid ID. You're not going to get a mortgage. You're not going to be able to buy a car. You're not going to apply for certain federal assistance, what have you, or let alone apply to school, and the list goes on. So this silliness of every time this topic comes up, the far left and even come out with their shenanigans saying, that's discrimination, etc. You would hope that the spirit of common sense, answer your question, would more prevail. And that, and this is so critical, there's our census that we need in terms of where our congressional lines are to be looked at. There's a lot of, goods and services as it relates to the population to have an accurate voting count, a valid, legal, accurate voting count is healthy for the nation. And of course, without that, we get flooded with people who vote who really shouldn't be voting or shouldn't be allowed to vote. So hopefully the spirit of common sense will weigh in.
Yeah, if you actually believe in free and fair elections, it makes a lot of sense. If you really don't want free and fair elections, then it's easy to find a lot of reasons not to go down that road, I suppose. Bruce LeVell is my guest, former advisor to the president on lots of issues, including the role of small business. Bruce, I can't tell you how many times I've heard local mayors or state legislators or even federal politicians say that small business is the backbone of the American economy, or the backbone of the local economy. And yet sometimes it feels like that's lip service as opposed to actually believing that and putting policies in place that are good for small business. In terms of your role with the Small Business Administration, being an advocate for small businesses, whether it's in your home state of Georgia or other places, where are we? Tariffs have been such a big part of that conversation and the effect that it has on small business. Do we actually care at an administrative level about small businesses, or is it just a talking point that theoretically helps you get elected?
Well, one thing. Well, I will tell you this: I am a fan of business people, business owners who want to serve in the city council, to run for mayor, Congress, et cetera, that have a great business background. Those are my favorite candidates to get behind, especially when they've done very well in the business section, the business sector, the private business sector. So those are always, because I'm a 31-year business owner in Atlanta. So, it's interesting you say that, because the very ones that, throw the soundbite of the backbone, that's true. We make up 60+% of the GDP. And, that's a force to be reckoned with. I always say that we're the ones that write the checks when we send our quarterly payroll taxes up to D.C. That's the money that Congress is spending and arguing about. So,
and gosh, that's a hard check to write. I mean, if you are a business owner, like you say you are, or you're listening and you're a business owner, you know how hard it is to write that check quarterly.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it, when I did tours in the first administration, like I got on the road and went all over the country. And, of course, some of the biggest things that I ran across was being able to provide insurance for your employees. Obviously, since that dismal, horrible Obamacare came into effect, it more than double, tripled policies, made it even harder to incentivize employees, number one. Two, regulations, man. I find a lot of the regs, not so much as federal, happen more locally. City council, city, county, state. Some heavy regulations that have a tremendous amount of redundancies. And here's something interesting on this subject too. I found study shows that the city and county and state that has the least amount of tax burdens and regulation burdens have the stronger chance of going through, when the economy slows down, going through some financial downturn. They trip a little, but they don't fall, and they keep going. Versus some cities, and they're so heavy weighted on regulations and high taxes. Like New York. I have friends in the boroughs who've moved out. Obviously, not just because of Mondami, but that too. But just the fact of the
you needed another
bureaucracy
reason.
of politicians getting in there and they say we're going to grow jobs. Well, you grow jobs by cutting. You don't grow jobs by creating jobs from the taxpayer's dime. So it's just really, and I say this to all your listeners out there in Mississippi, if you're that business owner and you've proven to be a great steward of the money, what you do, I encourage you to seek your city council seat or your state house seat or your state senate seat and go serve, because it's serving. And we want that great business background in the city council seats. We want them in the commission seats. We want great judicial minds to run great law firms, serve in probate and superior court and state court. That's the America First people we want. That's the big thing that President Trump is touting. Is like, look, he's a business guy running, serve.
From the Venable Glass Traffic Center.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
On with the show.
Is back. Holy smokes. On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
I was 3 days short of pulling out of Kingsport. I was headed down to Houston town. Had a guitar pack and a burlap sack for exploiting my country sound. I bypassed Jackson.
At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey. Looking to manage your personal finances? Our banking services make it simple, secure, and tailored to you. Ready to grow your business? We offer expert guidance and custom solutions to help your business thrive. Dreaming of a new home? Our mortgage specialists are here to make the process seamless, all designed with you in mind. We're more than just a bank. We're your partner for life's biggest moments. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Community Bank, communitybank.net. We appreciate you being with us. Appreciate Bruce LeVell. I know he was kind of talking as we went into the break there, summarizing. He was encouraging small business owners to get involved in their local communities, whether it's as a city council member or as a mayor or on the board of supervisors at the county, pointing to good business sense leading to good policy within local governments and state governments as well. So appreciate Bruce joining us. Going back to our conversation with Alan Jones, some of you jumping in on the C Spire text line with some of your stories as well, and appreciate that. Mose says, I can remember taking Dad to his appointments. His cancer doctor was in the specialty clinics in North Jackson's. Appointments were in 3 different parts of UMMC. And let's not forget the appointments at the medical mall as well. Yeah, spread out all over the place. And the idea of, it feels trite to call it one-stop shopping when you're talking about a cancer diagnosis. But in terms of easing the burden of going from place to place to place when you're already dealing with a serious medical issue. And Lance, you were talking earlier about the fact that, I guess it was off air. You were talking to me about what great care your dad got through UMMC, but you saw that process, right? Where you've got an appointment here and an appointment there, and you've got therapy over here, and it's just all over the place versus being in that centralized location.
I can't say enough about the work that they do at UMMC. Options like MD Anderson, getting out of state, they were readily available.
Yeah.
It would have been very difficult for my father at 78, 79 to go live, in another place. We spent the better part of a year in and out of UMMC for cancer treatment for leukemia. And I just can't say enough about the people, first and foremost. I mean, that's the big part. You have caring, wonderful people. Dr. Luann Woodward, she'd swing by. I mean, she's the head of the whole place. I mean, so they're not inaccessible. Dr. Jones, and it's a teaching hospital. So you have a bunch of just wonderful young folks that are learning and engaging the those that are there. And then finally, the amount of service that you're able to get here in the cancer world. I think it's going to be great to bring things into a little bit more of a convenience factor. My dad still goes down to the medical mall for chemo about every 6 weeks, in and out, so it's not that hard. But it is. I think it would be much better to have everything tight and close.
Yeah.
Because when you're in that state, you kind of get worn down a bit, and the less moving and traveling and going, and the more comfort you have seems to make a great difference from my experience dealing with it. And but I think my father would say the same thing, that the level of care, the convenience, and the professionalism is all right there where you need it to be at UMMC.
I think that's the genesis of this question, unless you're asking something that I don't understand here. Wasn't that the original purpose of the cancer center and the millions it took to build that? So the new cancer center they have not started construction yet. The millions you're talking about, the $125 million number, and given the way construction costs and everything else goes up in price, I'm sure it'll end up being more expensive than that. But that's the goal, right? They are, and if it was confusing when we were talking about the National Cancer Institute designation and the actual physical facility, those are two separate things, but they're working kind of in simpatico. The $125 million cancer center project is what they are working toward, and they're at about $60 million raised as of the end of October, and that's in about a year of public fundraising, so nearly halfway there. I think there is a hope and probably an assumption that the legislature is going to kick in on this project, whether that's in a single lump sum or in a recurring allocation's not the right word, but I'll use that word, a recurring allocation of state dollars toward that facility. I think it looks like that's going to come, but UMMC is going to have to get to a big number for the legislature to say, okay, we're ready to start kicking that money in as well and start construction. The NCI designation on top of that is kind of in concert with the new cancer center and enhancing the overall patient care process. You heard Dr. Jones talking in great detail about the things that UMMC would be able to do as opposed to what they're able to do right now with regard to clinical trials and treatments that aren't currently available through UMMC. Somebody on the C Spire text line says, give to this rather than your athletic teams. I don't love to tell people how to spend their money. You can give to what you believe is important, and thankfully there are people with enough resources that have the ability to do all of the above. Another message on the C Spire text line, forever grateful to all the medical staff at Batson Children's Hospital, Children's of Mississippi. They saved my beautiful baby. Thank you all. 100% love and care to all of you. talking about UMMC being a godsend.
That's been my experience with it.
I don't know that there is a scarier moment as a parent than if you have something wrong with your child and you don't know what it is. Because unless you're a medical professional yourself, you find yourself in a place of almost hopelessness. You're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's wrong. Fix my baby. And a baby could be 6 months or could be 6 years old. You're talking about a young child. And to be able to go to a place like Children's of Mississippi and walk through the door and say something's wrong, I don't know what, and let the medical professionals take it from there and believe that you're getting the best care that's available you'll find anywhere, it's a pretty significant relief. And that's just focused on children. I mean, it's the case if you get a cancer diagnosis or there's something other that's wrong with you as well. How about this one? Video footage has been captured of a black bear on the prowl after chasing an 11-year-old boy into a dollar store in Pennsylvania. Cole Frazee went to see what was taking his father so long while shopping at a Family Dollar in Markleysburg, Pennsylvania, when he suddenly noticed a black bear looking at him. This is a report from CBS Pittsburgh. Without getting a chance to turn around, the hulking bear began to chase after him into the dollar store, sending him scrambling for cover. When it runs after me, I turn around, I run in the store, I'm screaming and stuff. The thing was like 1.5 feet away from me, Frazee told the NBC affiliate in Pittsburgh. I was like, I'm probably going to get eaten by a bear, said the 11-year-old. I took a left and the bear went straight. Raced up and down the aisles to escape the bear, ran to the cashier, who was the only other person in the store. The two jumped on the counter and darted out the doors. The second the beast turned around, the moment the mammoth animal hurtled over the front counter, seconds after the pair left, was caught on surveillance video. Can you imagine?
That'd be scary right there, wouldn't it?
Have you had, I'm kind of asking collectively, any sort of an experience with a black bear?
We've got them all. We've got 3 or 4 on the property, and we get pictures from them. They're a lot bigger than you think.
On trail cameras, or you actually
like
you
wildlife.
snap a picture with your phone?
No, wildlife's come in and had to dart them and tag them, and I've seen. I mean, they're huge. I mean, you don't want to get chased by a bear. Yeah.
The thing to me, we took a family trip to the Gatlinburg area years ago. And if you've been to that area, you know where the aquarium is. And we stayed in like a cabin that was kind of up from the aquarium. And there were a couple of black bears that were just hanging out. And when you watch the speed with which they can climb a tree, you kind of realize that if you get in a bad spot, your options may be limited.
Yeah, you don't want to have your shoes tied together.
No. And the idea of, let me just climb a tree and go sit on this branch so the bear can't get to me, that's not a good plan either. Not a good plan at all.
Yeah, they're good at the climbing stuff.
Whew. Thankfully, that 11-year-old boy is okay. Said it was definitely a crazy experience. A large male black bear can weigh a whopping 600 pounds. Females sometimes exceed 200 pounds, according to the National Wildlife Federation. They're looking for food this time of year because they're getting ready to go take a long nap. Back with you after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
This is Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's do it.
SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. If you're in the market for a new or a previously owned vehicle, then I would love for you to take the time to check in with my friends at Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota. Sure, it's about selection, and they've got a great selection on the lot right now. On the Ford side of things, if you're looking for an F-150 or the 2025 or even 2026 Expedition, they got plenty of those that are on the lot right now. I drove an Expedition the other day just to see what it's like, and man, that thing is nice. Like really, really nice. We've got great financing rates, especially on the F-150 right now, 0% for 60 months. And then other flexible financing rates that include some rebates as we get toward the end of the year. So all that's available to you, and honestly, that's available to you at a lot of dealerships. But you want to go to a place where you feel important, where you feel like you're being listened to, where you don't feel like you're being hassled. And I promise you're going to get that. You're not going to get those things. You are going to get the feelings of importance and being listened to without being hassled if you check in with my friends at Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota. Doesn't matter where you live. You can be on the coast, be in the Jackson area, be in northeast Mississippi. You can find them online at belkford.net, oxfordtoyota.com. Great people that are going to take care of you and would love the opportunity to earn your business. Check them out. Tell them you heard about it on Mornings of Richard Cross that I sent you there. I certainly would appreciate that very, very much. This story from Fox is, I think, a little concerning. We know that there are detractors when it comes to Pete Hegseth and even this administration related to the military. But having elected officials who are not in the majority party openly encourage service members to refuse orders is pretty concerning. A group of Democrat lawmakers with military and intelligence backgrounds released a video yesterday urging service members to, quote-unquote, refuse illegal orders, a message that conservatives blasted as a call to defy the president and the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. Alyssa Slotkin, the Democrat from Michigan, on the 1-minute video that was viewed by, a couple of million people, features 6 lawmakers invoking their prior service while telling members of the military and intelligence community that, quote, the threats to our Constitution are coming from right here at home, close quote. They've spent recent weeks introducing legislation to limit President Trump's ability to deploy National Guard members domestically or to launch military action against narco-terrorists without congressional approval, though none of that context appears in the video. Conservative accounts countered the viral clip, citing military law and interpreting the call to action as an alleged appeal to commit treason against the United States. Senator Eric Schmidt, a Republican from Missouri, said at the end of the day, they're mad the American people chose Trump, and now they're calling on the military and intelligence community to intervene. Sounds a little subversive to democracy-ish. That's what Eric Schmidt said about the statement and the video. Pete Hegseth said this is simply stage 4 of Trump derangement syndrome. What are we doing? What are we doing? You're elected to Congress and you put out a video with other lawmakers encouraging members of the military and the intelligence community to ignore orders. It's not really what they teach at West Point. And I'm not talking about in West Point, Mississippi.
Yeah, they run the ball there.
They run the dang ball at West Point. There's no doubt. A lot. And well.
Yeah, they're the best at it, man.
I'm talking about the United States Military Academy. I don't think that's what they're teaching at Annapolis. I don't think that's what they're teaching at the Air Force Academy. It's kind of scary stuff.
I mean, if it
Those
is,
are the
it's new
people we have in
curriculum.
office.
If that's what they're teaching, that's new curriculum.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about it. Don't follow orders.
You're going to love this one, Lance. Beer giant Anheuser-Busch InBev is in talks to buy Beatbox. Now, if you think Beatbox is like a portable speaker, you would be wrong in this case. It's a maker of fruity and highly alcoholic punch and tea drinks. The deal would value Beatbox at around $700 million and could come together soon. Beatbox is known for its brightly colored Tetra Pak boxes with screw caps. Think about the milk carton you had as a kid at school, where you fold the top and open it up. Taller than that, a little skinnier than that, with a screw top, and then bright colors on it. It's something that Beatbox is something that has gained traction with younger drinkers. The Austin-based brand, which counts Mark Cuban as an early investor, was on track to notch $175 million in revenue through the end of 2024. So now Anheuser-Busch InBev is eyeing the deal as the alcohol industry is looking to woo younger legal-age consumers. They've built a buzzy following with the help of partnerships at music festivals. $4 to $5 a piece. Alcohol by volume, ABV, 8 to 11%.
Ooh.
That's
a cocktail.
Stout.
Yeah, that's a cocktail there.
Your normal Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light is what, 4%?
Yeah. It depends on if you're getting the Mexican version, it's a little higher.
Well, maybe a little higher, but just the one you buy off the shelf at your local stop and go.
2.5 to 4 is, I think, the average generally.
Yeah. And then you get into more of the craft beers and you're in the 5% range. But this 8 to 11% by volume. Buying Beatbox would augment AB InBev's ready-to-drink alcohol portfolio that includes brands like canned cocktail Cutwater and their vodka seltzer Neutral. Deal follows the sale of Buzz Balls, a ready-to-drink cocktail with 15% ABV that was acquired by Sazerac last year. The brands that fall under the AB InBev umbrella include Michelob Ultra and Bud Light, and Budweiser, and Stella Artois, and others. That and $3 will get you a cup of coffee. I am aware. I was reading that story and it's like, what? $700 million is what AB InBev is going to pay for that. You may want to check your mailbox or perhaps your inbox and see if Amazon is going to send you some money. If you're one of the millions of people who were signed up for Amazon Prime without your permission, perhaps an email is on the way where you're going to get a refund. The company has started providing automatic refunds from a $2.5 billion settlement that it reached with the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC previously accused Amazon of using deceptive methods to register millions of customers for paid Prime subscriptions, been making it difficult for those customers to cancel. Back in September, the FTC said Amazon would not only have to pay the $2.5 billion settlement, but cease the unlawful enrollment and cancellation practices for Prime. Amazon, in a statement, said last month, Amazon and our executives have always followed the law, and this settlement allows us to move forward and focus on innovating for customers. Amazon has, however, started paying customers. Not all of the $2.5 billion, by the way, is going to customers. The Federal Trade Commission says $1 billion of it is going to be a fine. That's a civil penalty. So $1.5 billion for refunding consumers, but there are requirements. 3 requirements that you have to meet to qualify for a chunk of the money. First, you have to be a Prime member. Second, you had to have signed up with Amazon's challenged enrollment flow or tried and failed to cancel your subscription And you have to have used less than 3 Prime benefits, like Prime Music or Prime Video, during any one-day period after becoming a Prime member. I don't know what all that means. But you might be getting a refund that is capped at $51. I don't even know if it's worth the hassle to figure out if you're eligible. If you haven't received a payment yet, don't worry. According to the Federal Trade Commission, disbursement will continue through December 24th. We shall see. We'll wrap it up coming up with you next. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
Blue Ribbon Beer.
From the Venable Glass.
Since you're up early, you get the news first. Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi and the Super Talk app.
I just passed a Jimmy in a white. I've been a passing everything in sight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. But it seems like a month since I kissed my baby goodbye. I could have a lot of women, but I'm not like some other guy. I could find one to hold me tight, but I could never make.
Derek in Greenwood says he received $27 from Meta for a security breach about 2 years ago. He got the digital Visa about a month ago. I'm glad they pay on time. Wonder how it would work if you were 22, 23 months behind on a payment. You think you could just keep on cruising along like that?
Likely not. No.
Probably not.
Collection agency would be giving you that good old phone call pretty regular.
Yes, they would. DavidFisherLand.com. I've been telling you about this website. I've been telling you about this company for, the better part of 6 months now, since around the 1st of July. Have had some visits with David and with Jack. And, man, they're doing a good job. They've got great properties that you can see on their website, DavidFisherLand.com. David Fisher Land Company has been in the land business for 40 years. They're headquartered in Inverness. They service Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana. And it's not just for buying land. It's also if you're selling land. If you've got a property that you want to sell, you can do that. Reach out to them. David, Jack, Travis, they'd love to help you with all your land needs. Hope you'll tell them you heard about them here on Mornings with Richard Cross. A sample of some of the listings that you can find. One that's under contract, the Chula Lake property, one that we told you specifically about that was in Holmes County. Really nice hunting property there.
Big racks, too, man.
Yeah.
Big racks off that big Black River.
That's right. You got the King Place in Vance, which is nearly 500 acres. This is agricultural land. So whether you're looking for farmland or looking for farmland as an investment, they can help you there as well. The website, DavidFisherLand.com. Any of the three of them, David or Jack or Travis, would love to talk to you, understand what your needs are, what you're looking for, and even if it's not a property that they have a current listing on right now, they have their ear to the proverbial ground and are keeping up with things that might be coming on the market, or maybe your pocket listings where they're not actually on the market, but, could be bought, could be sold. They can help you with that at David Fisher Land Company, DavidFisherLand.com. Richard Cross, Lance Tolbert with you one last time this morning. I told you about it earlier. I will remind you that the boys this afternoon, Michael Borky, Brian Haydad, will be in Saltillo, Tupelo if you prefer, but Saltillo officially for, getting you ready for Super Santa that's coming up this Saturday at Scruggs Farm, Lawn, and Garden. They got all kinds of cool stuff. Holiday specials, clothing, sporting goods, feed, John Deere equipment.
I was curious if you still eyeballing
a tractor?
Yeah. I know last time y'all were over there.
I was. I'm not in pull the trigger mode right now, but Yes, eyeballing would be a really good way to describe it. They got a great selection there at Scruggs. 3575 Tom Watson Drive in Saltillo. I will tell you one thing that they have in there. We talked about it when we were last there. You don't think of Scruggs Farm, Lawn, and Garden as being a toy store. Oh, but you would be wrong. It's not a toy store per se, although it kind of is. I mean, it's like big person toys all over the place. But I'm talking about little people toys. Their selection of John Deere toys, tractors, trucks, cotton pickers, combines, like all of the cool stuff that little boys and little girls love to play with it's almost overwhelming. There's so much of it. There's an entire section there, and you want to talk about a gift that would elicit a smile if it was unwrapped during the holiday season under the tree. That would do it. Lance, I'm going out on a limb here. I'm guessing that you had a Tonka dump truck as a kid. Yes?
First toy I remember was the Tonka truck. The nice little dump truck. Yeah, the metal one.
The metal one. Not the plastic one that you sometimes see now, but the old school had the metal bed on it. You could flat move some stuff with that thing. Now, you had to push it.
Yeah, I took more ants from one bed to the other. You have no idea how many ants.
I need to move the sand in the sandbox from here to there. You can do that.
I had a little shovel, like a little plastic shovel. You'd shovel up the ant bed, put it in the truck, roll it over there, dump it out. I was working, man.
Yeah. So Congress yesterday unable to censure Stacey Plaskett. She was the Virgin Islands representative that was getting live updates during a congressional hearing from, Jeffrey Epstein. And they tried to bring a censure measure against her, and it did not pass. But supposedly it's a little tit for tat, because if it had passed, Democrats were going to turn around and bring a measure against a Republican. What a world! Thanks for being with us. Mornings with Richard Cross. We'll do it again tomorrow. For Lance, I'm Richard. Have a great day.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.